We've all had those moments where social interactions just feel inexplicably heavy, right? But what if the problem isn't that you're unlikable, but simply that you're being misread?
Think about your own daily interactions for a second. Have you ever noticed the group chat kind of dying down the second you chime in? Or maybe people nervously preface things with, "Hey, sorry, just a quick question." If so, they're actually making a rapid-fire assumption about your approachability. Without you even speaking a word, they're treating you as a potential risk.
And honestly, this happens so fast, it's wild. We are talking roughly 4 seconds. That is literally just the time it takes to pass someone in a hallway. In that tiny window, a stranger's nervous system has already decided if you're safe to approach. Their brain is frantically working with almost zero information, just a whole lot of anxiety, to reach that split-second verdict.
So here is the absolutely crucial point to remember. Being intimidating and being genuinely cold, not the same thing at all. They are entirely different traits. A lot of the time, beneath that sharp, self-contained exterior is someone who is actually super soft, or, maybe just exhausted, just waiting for somebody else to initiate the interaction for once.
Section 1. Physical Cues and the Power of Silence.
It is just fascinating how our totally ordinary behaviors suddenly become warning labels to other people. Look, while some folks are out there constantly performing that unpaid emotional labor, always flashing a reassuring smile, your standard, neutral, resting face might just read as pure annoyance to them. Or think about silence. If you enjoy a comfortable silence instead of panicking and rushing to fill dead air, people might feel judged. Even just holding eye contact a single beat too long can register to a nervous system as a primal physical challenge.
Moving right along to Section 2, actions louder than words.
So when you speak plainly, right, coming from a place of competence, without hedging your words with "I think" or "maybe," you're really just trying to be clear and efficient. But here's the catch. An insecure stranger's mind will rapidly fill that gap with worst-case assumptions about your intent. They basically interpret your directness as a slammed door.
And hey, this isn't just guesswork. This is actually backed by a 2002 Princeton study. They found that people immediately sort strangers on exactly 2 dimensions: warmth and competence. The unfortunate part? Displaying really high competence without that overt, performative warmth we talked about, it actually tends to trigger weariness and caution in strangers rather than building immediate trust.
Think about these behaviors for a second, because you don't engage in that quiet economy of nervous little laughs or constantly pause to check if a joke landed. People start projecting their own insecurities right onto your self-containment. They literally mistake your comfort in your own skin for harsh judgment or just total indifference.
It's profoundly ironic, isn't it? The person who actually doesn't need constant validation, the one who's secure, is the one who ends up looking like the biggest threat to everyone else in the room. You seem completely untouchable simply because you aren't actively asking for permission to exist.
All right, Section 3, the cruelest misunderstanding.
This is where it gets tough. When you are at your absolute most fragile, or maybe super anxious, you might naturally go quiet, right? Just trying to hold it together and avoid making a scene. But man, this creates such a strange, isolating loneliness. Why? Because the outside world sees that flattened tone and lack of words, and they interpret it as this fearsome dismissal and total annoyance.
Which brings us to our final takeaway, Section 4. It is not your character.
As our source beautifully puts it, you are legible to the wrong instruments. This hits the nail on the head. People are trying to read you using tools that were built for loud, easy, performative warmth. But guess what? You were simply never built to run on that setting. And honestly, you do not owe anyone a performance of approachability.
Your capacity for genuine connection is completely there, 100%. It just requires an extra beat. You just need a slightly longer runway. A delayed smile, or maybe a moment of unprompted softness dropped into a really direct sentence, that is all it takes for the right people. The ones who are never truly scared off by you in the first place.
So the next time a room goes quiet when you walk in, just take a breath. Remember that your character was never on trial here. It was really just their nervous system, desperately taking those 4 seconds to catch up to who you truly are. So ask yourself, who in your life actually took the time to look past that runway? And more importantly, how can you give that exact same grace to others?